Well, thanks for tuning in to this quick chat with Stephen Beatty. I did a walk around, a virtual walk around of the all-new Venza, which is why I have the video playing in the background. If you missed that video, click on the link. And we had Phil Crow from Toyota University walking around the Venza. So if you want to watch that, click on the link. But now we have Vice President of Toyota Canada, Stephen Beatty, with me. So we're going to touch on a few things here about different products, but because you're standing in front of the all-new hybrid Venza, why don't we talk about that first? The one thing people really want to know is, like, when is it coming?
So it's coming out this summer, and it's just one of a whole series of vehicles that will be coming from Toyota that will really change the nature of our lineup.
But Stephen, it's summer now. When are we going to get it?
So count on August.
Now, you haven't announced the price of this new Venza, but to me, it looks a lot like a Lexus. Is it going to be a premium over a RAV4 hybrid that it's based on?
Yeah, so this is the issue. When we looked at the marketplace, we felt that there was a sort of a market space between RAV and Highlander. So expect it to slot into that space from a pricing standpoint as well. So overlapping the upper end of RAV and the lower end of the Highlander range. And if you remember back the last time that we had the Venza nameplate in the marketplace, it again was more of a personal expression in that segment of the market. Now, the market's changed over that period of time, so what people are looking for in that category is a little different, and I think that's reflected in the new shape and style and expression of Venza.
So Stephen, I have been getting a lot of questions about another vehicle in the Toyota lineup. That's the RAV4 Prime, the plug-in version of the RAV4. So basically, people want to know, when can we get it? Can you give us any information on RAV4 Prime?
Well, we're going to go on sale again this summer, so look for something toward the end of August as the launch. Our practice recently with vehicles that fall into that zero or near zero emission category is to launch first in the provinces with ZEV requirements in place. So that means Quebec first, BC logically after that, and then go to full national rollout thereafter. I don't have a specific timetable that I can lay out for you today, but expect that pattern. It's what we did with Prius Prime. It's what we've done with Mirai, and I think you can expect to see more of that as we move forward.
So I've been reading stories about the RAV4 Prime in the United States market, and there's huge demand for it and long waiting lists. How many are we going to get allocated here for the Canadian market?
Well, as always, that comes down to just how good we are at negotiating as we go through to this. But you may have heard that Japan has already halted orders because demand exceeded supply for the Japanese market. So I think they're going to be hot in every market in the world. So again, at launch, it takes a while for manufacturing to spool up and to get the pipeline full. So I think the numbers are going to be light initially, but they'll grow over time. And as important a car as it is, the thing to keep in mind is that it plays differently in different parts of the country. So in one case you have ZEV requirements at the national level, you have some incentives in place, and in the provinces you have incentives in place. So how this vehicle will be priced and how public policy is changing is also going to have a big impact on availability from week to week or month to month across the country.
Well, there's an old saying in the auto industry, you have too many of vehicles that you can't move and not enough of vehicles that are in high demand. Now, before COVID started, we were hearing stories about RAV4 hybrid being, 3 to 6 month waiting periods for people to get them, depending on the trim. And has that changed? Do you have an update on that? And also, do you expect the same kind of issues with RAV4 Prime?
Well, so let me step back for a moment and say that we were last year, I think we came up with about 15% of our sales in total being electrified vehicles. It's hard to predict given just the nature of the marketplace this year, but I suspect we might be at 20% of our sales as electrified vehicles at the end of this year. And by 2025, we've said that our intention is to hit 40% of our sales. So what you can see is that we are ramping up the number of electrified vehicles, particularly hybrids that we're selling every year, and we're spreading them across more models. So I think there are two things. One is availability of batteries in individual models is improving year over year, but because we're introducing new models all the time with hybrid options, I think there are more choices for people in the Toyota lineup, and somebody who might have selected a RAV hybrid before now has a Venza to look at, or might look at a hybrid Sienna, or could look at any number of other vehicles that are coming into the lineup.
So with these new announcements, with Sienna being sold only as hybrid, with Venza being sold only as hybrid, are we going to see this trend from Toyota where you have just hybrids available for certain models? Is that something that's going to continue?
Yeah, absolutely. And as I said before, you know, if we're aiming at 40% of our sales being electrified by 2025, then we're going to have to make sure that there's a choice available for every consumer who walks into a Toyota dealership, and that means spreading it across the lineup. So 2025 is important because we've also said that that's about that time that you can expect that every model in our lineup will have an electrified option. It'll either be a dedicated hybrid or plug-in hybrid or battery electric car or fuel cell, or it will have that as an optional model.
So at Toyota, you made it perfectly clear you want to have, you know, electrified vehicles throughout the fleet by 2025. You've got all these new models coming. There's waiting times for RAV4 hybrid, probably for the Prime as well. Is there any thought back in Japan to, you know, up the battery capacity to meet the demand for all of these vehicles?
Well, you've seen a raft of announcements over the last number of months of new partnerships to build batteries, including the return of one of our original partners, Panasonic, to a new venture. But I think it's a balancing act too. I think you want to be very cautious about over-investing in the technologies to produce current generation batteries when we know that there's some important chemistry changes that are just around the corner. So again, over the next 2, 3, 4 years, I think that you're going to start to see some new battery technologies enter into the marketplace. I think that they will start to really address that cost and performance ratio that's been a problem for electrified vehicles, particularly for full battery electrics. And as that happens, then you want to be riding the right curve on the new technologies and make sure that you're building that capacity. So, Toyota always wants to ensure that we're responding to current market demand, but we've always got an eye on the future and are making sure that as we're building out our strategies that we're making for that smooth transition to the new technologies that are around the corner.
All right, let's talk about, sales. You can't speak for the auto industry for everybody, but you can speak for Toyota. Where do you think you're going to be at the end of 2020? Do you think sales, some forecasts are down, say 25%, maybe more. Where do you think Toyota is going to land at the end of this year?
It's really tough to say right now. We've seen the retail marketplace rebound quite strongly, so that even last month the retail market looked very much like it did a year earlier. What has been affected, obviously, are corporate purchasers of vehicles, so rent-a-car fleets, government or business, corporate fleet activity, or small business fleets. And as a result of that, it's really tough to understand how the market's going to rebound on the commercial side. As it stands, we've lost a couple of months of production as a result of plant shutdowns during COVID. That obviously has an impact on our ability to drive product through to the marketplace. But at the moment, inventories look okay. If the retail marketplace holds up, I think we're going to rebound through the rest of the year, and I hope to get us back to as close to year earlier levels as possible.
Well, Stephen, thanks to you and your team for setting up these virtual walkarounds of the Venza. You know, we're all kind of learning on the job, figuring out how we're supposed to do this. You know, I'm in Vancouver, you're in Toronto, and how it's all going to work out. So thanks to you and your team for putting all of this together. And I'm sure we're going to be doing more of these things in the future. And you know, the Venza looks like a hit, and I'm sure it will be.
Well, we're going to send them out to you, so get ready for lots of driving because there are a lot of new models coming from Toyota.
Thanks again to Stephen Beatty, Vice President, Toyota of Canada, for coming on and doing that and setting up the link and hiring a camera crew and all of that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, you know, we're going to be doing more of these. And yeah, the good news is they're going to be sending out the vehicles for us to test drive. So if you like this and you want to see more virtual releases, once again, you can click on the tab at any time to watch the Venza walk around. Make sure you subscribe to the channel to get more of these virtual car releases. And we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.